Do you have a beer or something?
Mate, I've got a fucking pint of gin, mate. I'm ready to fucking go.
I like how you've chosen a drink with ice in it, so it's nice and quiet for when you...
Oh, fuck.
Welcome to Magic the Flavouring, the Magic the Gathering podcast, where we talk about all things magic, flavour design and lore. I'm your host, Andy Mann.
Hello, this is Nathan Cancel.
And today we're going to be talking about the brand spanking new set, fresh off the printers, Dominaria United. What's that? Sorry? Sorry, Nathan, I got that wrong. Fresh off the printers, Unfinited... Sorry, what was that? Oh, sorry, Nathan, someone keeps handing me... Warhammer 40k? You sure? Okay, sorry. Fresh off the printers, Warhammer 40... Oh, just opened Twitter, and that's Brothers War spoilers. Okay. Should we just sack this off? Should we not talk about later sets? No.
Yeah, no, I'm good to do something. Should we do something else?
Yeah, I'm glad how you stayed silent and did just watch me do that whole bit in front of you. And people who listen to this podcast won't even watch me do the looking offside.
Yeah, the looking off, that was good. I mean, I could hear it. They'll understand. They'll understand. And this isn't even getting into the bullshit that is the Transformers, which I'm sure we'll get to eventually.
I didn't even think of Transformers.
When we've caught up with all the products.
If you're listening to this podcast, you might have heard on our last episode, I was saying, we'll do like a story spotlight, and then we'll do this and we'll do that. And Nathan was already ready to go. I'm not putting this on you, Nathan, but for the benefit of the listeners, I can't bear the thought of talking about new Magic the Gathering product, either ones I'm interested in. I'm not interested in Warhammer or Infinity. That's not to say I think they're bad products at all. I mean, obviously we had a bit of a tear about Infinity last time we spoke about it, but broadly speaking, people who like them, cool, go for you. Brothers War obviously looks sick. I actually don't mind the Transformers cards. I know you're quite a big fan of them, right?
I'm actually, mechanically I think they're awesome, but there's just so much. It's
Too
raining
much.
product.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd do something a little bit more us.
Yeah.
A little bit more flavorful, something that's complete bullshit, basically.
This was your suggestion. What are we doing tonight?
I decided that we should create some fantasy football league teams out of MTG characters. High fantasy football league is what I called it in my notes. Fuck it. Yeah, we're just going to discuss about what characters or creatures or even maybe spells, maybe who knows, would be good at football.
Yeah, by football we mean soccer.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, we thought, fuck it, let's do something very almost similar to the multiversal menu kind of thing of let's take this lovely expansive multiverse and then force it into the boring human Earth world mechanics, and let's see how horribly we can force them into the boxes, and how funny we can be with our choices.
Yeah, for sure. Do you know what the best thing about this whole exercise is? Doing a fantasy football league.
No, go ahead.
I fucking hate football.
Sure. I mean, sure. But that doesn't stop you from being able to, engage with a humorous reflection on it. Right?
I'm still English. I'm still English. I have we come out the womb with an innate understanding of football, right? It's whether you like it or not, you kind of know it pretty well. I've seen a football. I've been to the football many times. I had an ex-girlfriend.
I've been to the football?
Yeah, I got an old girlfriend of mine when we were in university. She was a big West Ham fan, and I was a Fulham fan. So we used to do the London derbies whenever they played. So it was twice. So I dated her for 2 years, and so we went 4 times in total because we did either end in the season. And it was a football-y old time. We did the thing.
I really enjoy. I mean, I've only been, I'd say, half a dozen times. Compared to other sports, I've gone to see cricket many times. I've even been to see the darts a few times. The only thing I haven't actually been to see, which I really would like to, is rugby, even / American football. I'd like to see American football when it comes over to Twickenham, because that's where we went to university. We went to university in West London, and they did do American football games there every now and again. I never got a chance to go and see one, and I would really enjoy to. Same with baseball. I wouldn't mind going to see a baseball match, but out of all of them, football does have this kind of strange energy where you kind of feel yourself getting kind of it's like when you go to church, when everyone starts singing hymns, and before you know it, you're like, am I filled with the love of God? Except for it's with the love of hooliganism,
Yeah.
It's got that same kind of vibe of where you get caught up in the throes of it, and it's quite a lot of fun, you know.
I must admit,
Those two
I did
things are
watch.
relatable.
I did watch the highlights last night. This will date when this is recorded, but I watched the highlights last night of the 6-3 Man City Man U game, and I did enjoy it. I did enjoy watching the double hat tricks. Like, you know. Anyway, this is talking about real football. What are we doing? What are we doing? What's the rules here? For those who don't know what fantasy football is, firstly, in the real world, what is it, and what are we doing here?
Yeah, so originally what happens at the beginning of the league, before the league kicks off, you'll get a bunch of your mates together. You'll start your own little tournament, as it were, and you'll get to choose 11 players. You'll probably get a point system, so certain players, like, you know, say, I don't know, Messi, for example, would be worth like 15, whereas, you know, your newbies that have just come up through the academy would probably only be worth like 2 points or whatever. So you only have a certain amount of of designated points to build your team out of. So you kind of got to balance it. And then each week you get to sub in 3, sub out 3, depending on who you think is going to do well. And the idea is you keep up with the game, you see who's going to be playing over the next few games, who they're likely to be playing, who's going to be the scorers, who's going to have clean sheets, blah, 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 blah. It's kind of a way of you, like, almost like Football Manager, but you get to mix and match. And the idea is you kind of choose your favorite players or the players you think are hot shit at the moment, and then, you know, you get to follow along and kind of have your own mini tournament with your friends. So at the end of the season, you'll see who got the most points across the year. We haven't done a designation of points because how I'd have to go through the 1600 legends to say, like, and mark each one with a point system. We're not doing that. That's bullshit. But what we are going to do is we're going to do the starting 11. We'll do 3 subs, and then I even said, screw it, put a mascot, a referee, and a manager in there as well. So we've got various different roles to fill with various different characters filling them. I kind of said your justification can be whatever. I did say, like, within reason, you can't just make your striker Fireball, because that's a bit silly. But if you had a justification for it, I'd also be very accepting. I tried to throw it out to Reddit. I only got about half a dozen responses. Only a few of them were actually serious. None of them. No, exactly. So I kind of, like, you know, let that go. But I think, you know, it's an interesting way to kind of, as I say, look at the Magic multiverse and then translate it into a more human, more grounded, you know, kind of thing. And I'm interested to see where you went with it. I didn't set very many rules specifically, so I wanted to see what you would think and where you would go with certain things. And I feel like we've probably been flexible on a few things. I'd like to argue the toss about a few things. You know? So I think, I don't know, it's a fun discussive thought experiment kind of thing that's still relevant to Magic, whilst also not really caring about the inordinate amount of product and stuff that's coming out.
Yeah, well, this was it. We had a conversation just even like a couple of days ago going, oh, yeah, we're going to do these episodes. And I told you I couldn't bear it. And literally the first thing you said was, Fantasy Football League? And I was like, yeah, cool, that's it. You know, this sounds like a really complicated process. You said fantasy football, and I went, yes. And now here we are. And then retroactively, we're like, all right, what are we doing here? So, yeah, I mean, I just wanted to have a bit of a fun, bit of a goof. And I chose to talk about football as in that respect. But whatever. Anyway, here we go. Let's just jump into it then. So we've got 11. So what we're going to do, the 11 starters in their positions.
Yeah.
We're going to do the subs.
Start from the back. Yeah, so we start from the back. I think we should do keeper. Then, I mean, I don't know what your formation is, but I've got a formation of mine
4-4-2.
as well. Oh, see, I went 3-3-2-2.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know why I went 4-4-2. That's the one I remembered.
Okay, I specifically wanted to separate wingers from strikers, just because I thought it fulfill different roles.
I consider wingers to be more like the midfielders.
See, again, I've got a fullback. You know, I've got a centre forward. Those are my midfielders. You know, see, this is good. We've tackled it in different fashions. And then after we've done our initial 11, then we can talk about our subs. Then we can talk about the manager. Then our mascot. And then who you think would be a good referee. I think that's probably a good order to do it in.
Yeah, sounds good.
Start from the back.
And as you're playing along, anyone who is into sports and is into football specifically, keep up with who our team is and why. Sorry, I'm drinking a beer. I'm very burpy already. We'll talk about who we think would actually win maybe after the episode is done. All right then. Okay. Let's kick this fucking nonsense off.
Kick it off. Yeah.
Oh god.
Oh, it started already.
Who's your keeper? Who's your starting keeper?
So I thought, who else would be better to protect against a series of loads of shots being 100-handed one? You know, 2 white for a 3/5 creature giant with vigilance. Now, vigilance isn't so important for a keeper. It'll be more relevant later when it gets to my other selections. You can monstrosity it, and then once it is monstrous, it has reach and it can block an additional 99 creatures each combat. Now, if that ain't blocking every ball coming at it, I don't know who would. You know, the other option was the Street Fighter one, who gives 90 up to 99 creatures a bonus on attack, but you're not attacking, you're defending. So it makes more sense to. Yeah, exactly. So that was gonna be the other one I thought about, but I was like, oh, okay, let's go with 100-handed one as blocking because it can block up to 100 creatures. You know, unless you've got 101 creatures on the pitch, I don't really understand how you're scoring, mate.
Yeah, I love it. Do you want to know who my keeper is?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, who better to be a keeper than something with 100 hands? I've gone for 100-handed one.
Yes, of course. Oh, brilliant! So this is something I was interested in. I was going to see, like, do we both go for the obvious answer for some of them? I did switch up one of them. Like, I've switched up.
One of my subs. One of my subs is specifically a substitute goalkeeper, so I'll have a different answer when we get to the substitutes.
Okay, that's interesting.
And it isn't just. Because Theros Beyond Death had that creature that was just another take on the many-armed giant, didn't it? It had just basically another 100-handed one.
Yeah.
I'm going to look it up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up.
But it wasn't as succinct, though, you know? What could be a better keeper than 100 hands? You know? That seems pretty obvious.
I mean, I guess the new braids would be a good option, right?
Oh, yeah, that would be pretty cool as well. But, I mean, no one's going to be attacking the goal, right? Because that's the thing. Like, did we go for physical aptitude or did we go for, like, who's really scary? You know? Because no one's going to want to attack braids in goal, you know? Definitely want to take her on. You don't want to take her on 1v1, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can't find what the other 100-handed one is, but it does exist. I know, because the set came out not too long ago. Okay, cool. All right. You go through your whole back line. Go on.
Okay, cool. So I've got 3 defenders on the left to make sure that no head to defend the box from corners, to make sure that he gets stratospheric headers out of there. The Apocalypse Hydra.
Mm-hmm,
of all the Hydras, it's the biggest one. If you look at the artwork, there is no way you're clearing that getting into the goal. You know, I feel like he's got it covered. On the right, to mark and defend against, you know, as a perfect player marker, Venser, Shaper Savant, because he has teleport magic, so he can mark everyone. Anyway, he's blocking everything all day long. Even if you don't think he's there, you know? And then in the middle, pushing the play either left or right, the perfect for defending free kicks, the perfect wall, Pramicon Sky Rampart.
Nice.
You know, I mean, it's giant, it's huge. I mean, the question I have, and this is something that I don't know if we'll have to tackle going forwards, how did you treat flying?
I don't. Oh, I do have one flyer, and it is one of my defenders.
But you didn't consider I don't consider like an angel's just about to keep up it into the air over the pitch and into the goal, right? I kind of figured it's got to be that's against the rules. You know, it kind of has to be.
Well,
like,
it's not against the rules, but you know, I don't think flying would be, because it's so like in any sport, it's like a meta in any game, isn't it? As soon as someone does one thing, each other team will just kind of work to go against it, right? So like, you know, someone's really good with their, you know, a certain player is really good with their left foot, and Imagine will see that and be like, oh, okay, I'm going to put my defender on it who's really good at guarding against people who like prefer their left. And it was that metagame thing. As soon as you put anyone with flying on, you're just going to make all your team like a bunch of archers and be like, all right, juggle the ball.
Quidditch, right?
Yeah, you just juggle the ball as much as you want. I'm just going to fucking snipe you out of the goddamn air. Like, so yeah. I don't think it's quite the boon. And also, how hard would it be actually to be? The goal is still only this one size. It doesn't like,
exactly. It's still out on the ground.
You could fly 100 feet in the air. What are you going to do? Like drop it in? Like no. I don't think it's quite as good as people think.
Cool. Yeah, cool. That's what I was thinking. Because I don't think I have any flyers, which is annoying because the joke was that my wingers, I was like, but they haven't got wings. How can they be wingers? But you know, it's fine. Right. We whatever. So those are my 3. Yeah. So the Apocalypse Hydra for the corners, Venser for ultimate marking, and then the ultimate wall, Pramicon.
Yeah.
There you go. What are you back for?
Well, I went for Pramicon as one of my defenders as well.
Obviously. God, we're so in tune with each other. We're synchronized.
I had him as one of my centre backs, though. I thought I'd put him on left back or right back, because then that way you could always just pick left or right, and whatever defender comes against him, just the ball just immediately goes whoop, just straight off into touch. But
exactly right, perfect.
Yeah. No. He's one of my centres. My other centre back is Arcades the Strategist, right?
Smart.
So Arcades
smart.
Yeah, the Arcades the Strategist, 1 green, white, blue for a 3/5 Elder Dragon. Flying, there you go, that was my flyer, and Vigilance. Whenever a creature with Defender enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. Each creature you control with Defender assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power, and can attack as though it didn't have Defender. So, it's giving all of my Defenders the option to, like, counterattack, to push forward as well. They're just as powerful as, like, any other midfielder or striker. Do you know what I mean?
Interesting. I was going to put Doran in for the exact same reason. Got a big
Yeah.
butt, but then he turns the defense into offense, because that's a good, like, transitional player. Yeah, for the counter attack. That's clever. I like that. Good.
Also, Arcades is, like, fucking huge, and I just thought, yes, plop him.
Right? Yeah. I feel like anything with, like, a giant pair of wings is automatically, like, pretty good, but that's still a handball, right?
No. What are you talking about?
What do you mean, no? So,
It's not their hand.
right.
If it was a Drake or, like, something similar, then yeah.
Okay, fine. So it's what just considers me like off the shoulder. See, again, we needed to write these rules down. I'll have to come back to you in a couple of weeks, and I'll have like comprehensive magic football rules.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
But
So
sure,
those
for
are
now,
my
wings
two
are
centre
allowed.
backs. Those are my two centre backs. On my right back, because I've got 4-4-2, I'm going with Thing in the Ice. Because I really loved the idea of just having a colossal block of ice just gacking up a quarter of the pitch. Thing in the Ice, 1 and a blue. Defender, Thing in the Ice enters the battlefield with 4 ice counters on it. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, remove an ice counter for Thing in the Ice. If there's no ice counters, transform it. So you just plop that on, 45, 60 minutes into the game, bit of the way through the second half, it thaws out, and then it turns into a Woken Horror and fucks shit up. I love that. That's
I like
great.
that. That's sick. Yeah, I didn't even consider the fact that your defender should have Defender. Like, I've thought about other names. I've thought about other names for like my forwards and stuff, but yeah, that's a good point. Even with Pramicon, I was like, it's a defender, but I didn't even, for some reason, even clock that means obviously they're a defender. Oh god, I'm so terrible at my own things. This is awful. Great choice.
Yeah, you are.
Good.
Left back, Wall of Fire.
Because who the fuck wants to attack through a wall of fire?
Yeah, you're not going to attack into a wall of fire.
That makes sense.
One red for a creature. It's a fucking creature. And before anyone gives me shit as well, by the way, I know the Dan Dos Santos art from like M13 whatever onwards has a little dude that is, I think, is clearly the one summoning the wall of fire. So like it doesn't really make sense that the wall of fire itself is a creature. But there are 2 previous artworks before that one, and both of them just have a wall of fire. Like it's a sentient wall of fire.
Yeah, the
right?
5th edition Richard Thomas one is just like, it looks kind of like the modern day Magali Villeneuve lands, in the stained glass kind of effect.
Yeah.
The blockchain.
Yeah. Defender,
Yeah.
pay a red, wall of fire gets +1 into +0 into turn, so it's got fire breathing. And then the flavor text is mercy is for those who keep their distance. Keep the fuck away. Keep the fuck out of my half. I don't give a shit.
Out.
Wall of fire. Boom. Done.
Nice. Good.
You got fire on one side, ice on the other, and a dragon and a wall in the middle, and a 100-handed giant behind them. What are you going to do?
Didn't want to step up to a wall of swords? I mean, I don't understand a wall of swords as a creature. At that point, it should be an artifact creature, but sure. Okay, we're arguing a wrong flavour here. But yeah, good. Big-ass wolves.
Yeah, they're not creatures.
How are we getting over them? Yeah, how are we getting over them? All right, cool. I like that. I like that.
Wall of fire. You said I couldn't have fireball. That was like literally the example you picked. And I was like, okay, wall of fire, motherfucker. It's creature.
I'll find a way to loop for
do?
you. And I guess Arcades also activates all of your walls to be aggressive as well, which is really clever. Have either of us chosen a 5-color manager which allows us to play all of these players, or are we not getting that far into it? Okay, good. Yeah, neither have I. Good, fantastic. All right. Okay. Well, moving into midfield then, I guess. Okay, cool. Well, I've got Baird, the original Baird, Steward of Argive as my fullback. He's a vigilant 2/4. The vigilant being that he can attack and block, which allows him to be transitional, which I thought was very necessary in your midfield. And obviously, creatures can't attack you or a planeswalker you control unless their controller pays an additional 1 for each of those creatures. So it's got an inherent you got to work harder to get past him kind of ability naturally in there. You've got to overexert yourself to the point of where eventually they're going to, the opposite team is going to run out of game mana. Is that what we're calling it? Sure. We're going to, it ties up their game mana, and then they can't get past. In a similar fashion, I've got to know the justifications are so jank, but I love it. It's great. I've then got Adeline, Resplendent Cathar. Again, this is where the vigilance really important because she can attack. She can protect and attack. The point being that when she attacks, you get a 1/1 attacking each of your opponents as well, which is like when she attacks, everyone else is rallying around her on that counter attack. But then also when she attacks, the more people around her, more of the other players that are kind of rallying to her play pattern, the stronger that she gets. Because her powers equal the number of creatures you control. So the idea is when the team's behind her, she's all beefed up, and whenever she attacks, everyone's getting behind her anyway. She's like the catalyst. And then the third one, and I thought this was quite good. I mean, if we're accepting Bablovia as part of the multiverse, Phoebe, head of SNEAK, can't be blocked with creatures with flavor text. So the creatures that take themselves too seriously are too busy on their own narrative. Like those hard trying players that are all like, it's all about me. They can't block her, and then she can permanently steal a text box from someone. That's stealing possession, right? Boom, she's perfect interceptor. She's tackling them down. She's stealing the possession. Then she can't be blocked if she tries to get past them. Boom, easy peasy. Look at that. Right, how are you getting past that? That's a midfield. That's a midfield if I've ever seen one. What you got?
Yeah. I don't think I do accept anything from Bablovia. I don't recognise unsets, but there we go. They should never have existed. Can I talk about? Can I just pause the podcast here? Can I just talk about how much I really hate unsets? I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I even tried an uncommander in EDH. I tried it.
You enjoyed
I think
her.
It sucks. I think unsets. If unsets didn't exist, but we all had the knowledge that they did, I wouldn't be upset. Do you know what I mean? If someone said to you, "Oh, there was this thing. Do you remember?" and I went, "Oh yeah, I'm so glad that doesn't exist anymore."
I mean, I guess the problem is that it keeps trying to take itself too seriously, right? We've talked about this before, of where it stops being a joke and it stops being a parody, and it starts being to the point of where it's kind of like pretend. It's no longer absurdism.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's weird because I kind of feel like Infinity is one of the best written sets so far because it's loading ready run. I've done a bunch of the card flavored text and card names and shit, and I really like loading ready run and everyone involved, and I can see their influence in this card set. I just don't know, man. I just don't know. I think it's what I said before. It's people find things funny in a shared cult experience, like a broad card game and all the different things that are involved in, the community gives things nicknames and takes a shine to certain creature types or characters or whatever, and then the whole however many squirrels can beat Emrakul and blah 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 blah, and the unluckiest planeswalker in the multiverse, Chad, and all that kind of stuff, and then they just kind of, it's like the people who make the game just go, see, we recognize it, we understand the joke, and you're like, oh yeah, but it's jokes aren't funny if you have to explain them, and it just feels like the unsets, especially of recent, well, not even especially of recent, they always have done, because things like City of Ass and all that kind of crap, it's like they're trying to explain the joke to you, right?
Sure.
And for every cool card, like where you get like Vorthos or Spike or Johnny and all those kind of, like, they do the player profile cards, and for each one of those ones, you just get shit. You just get shit.
Why didn't we get the unluckiest planeswalker instead of Space Bellerin?
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway.
No. Anyway, wait. Good.
I just can't. I don't find it funny. It's not for me. But if people like it, like I said at the top of the episode, I've already talked about it. If people like it, fine. I just wish it wasn't all over my newsfeed. I guess it's a me problem. I need to start curating my Twitter.
I'm just saying, from a flavor point of view, if the box says that Phoebe permanently steals the target creature's text box, that for me is dispossessing the other creature from the football. So I don't know. From a flavor point of view, I feel like it delivered.
All right, I'll talk to the Magic the Gathering Football Association and see if we can get Phoebe banned. Off the basis of not playing the game legally. All right, let's talk about my midline then. So I've gone for 4-4-2. I've got 2 wingers and 2 centre mids. Let's talk about my centre mids. Oh god, burp again. I'm so sorry. First one is Famiko the Lowblood, centre right. So I've got 2 red for a 3/2 human samurai legendary creature. Famiko the Lowblood has Bushido X, where X is the number of attacking creatures. Creatures your opponents control attack each turn if able. So whenever this creature blocks or becomes blocked, it gets +X until end of turn. So you need midfielders that are flexible, right? Are they defenders? Are they attackers? Who knows? They need to feed the ball into everyone else. They need to create openings. I just thought, like, I need someone who can defend defend well enough to stop attackers and attack as well to stop defenders. Do you know what I mean? And this, like, Bushido is a perfect sort of flexibility for that. And the fact that Famiko's thing is that she gets Bushido X, so she's always kind of keeping up with whatever's going on. You want something who's tenacious, so having a red centre mid, or at least one of them being red, is, perfect. Good on all grounds there. And creatures your opponents control attack each turn if able. Imagine if you're centre mid and you're like you're like got a bunch of defenders coming at you. Imagine if as a manager you had to deal with the fact that your defenders just constantly tried to run the ball up the entire length of the pitch because she's just forcing them to attack all the time. It's like your centre back's got the ball and he's like, well, I guess I'll try and score from here. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just
super aggressive. I like.
It just causes everyone to be super aggressive all the time. They're gonna make mistakes. And so I think that's the one for me. Centre left. You were talking earlier about what sports there are on other planes, and you mentioned Strixhaven, right? And obviously we've got Fiora. What's another plane off the top of your head that must have a huge sporting culture, like explicitly so? It's a plane with a real world analog.
Innistrad?
Nah. Think more like athletics.
Oh, Theros.
Yeah.
Right.
Theros has the Olympics.
Oh, it has the games, the Rowan Games.
The Rowan Games.
What an idiot! Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Who's the current like greatest Rowan champion on Theros?
Oh no, Nico Aris.
Nico Aris, yeah, that's right. One of the greatest athletes in all the multiverse. Nico Aris is my centre left. Absolutely. Obviously, not necessarily a footballer per se, but yeah, they're a javelin thrower fundamentally. But like, I was watching the Commonwealth Games early this year. Have you seen javelin throwers? They are like mental. They are the most ripped. Like, you wouldn't even think that they would need to be. I was watching the women's javelin on like one day, and I was just like, "Holy shit! These people are like stone, they're like carved out of stone."
All of the throwing ones, the discus, the shot put, and the javelin. I'm always like, you see the especially like the Russian women are always just like built like, buildings, and I'm like, well, of course,
exactly.
You've got to launch from your entire
explosive,
right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so like Nico's just a premium athlete, right? I know the card doesn't necessarily lend itself to much. I've got another Planeswalker as well, and the cards don't really fit into this narrative. But when Nico Aris
artistic representation, though, right? Like that's the thing.
Yeah,
we don't know what they're like in real life.
Yeah, exactly. So when Nico Aris enters the battlefield, you create an X shard tokens. Courtesy casting cost is X, white, blue, blue. Up to one target creature you control can't be blocked this turn, so that's good. So they're creating space as well. So up to one target creature you control can't be blocked. So they're feeding the ball through to your other mids or your forwards. Whenever the creature deals combat damage this turn, return it to its owner's hand. So I don't know how to square that flavorfully. I don't know. They put them back into position. Let's move past it. Nico Aris does 2 damage to target tapped creature for each card you've drawn this turn. So, is kind of keeping opponents down, is making them think twice before making certain plays, and -1 you create a shard token. So in terms of like actually on the battlefield, on the football pitch. Sorry, I'm a rugby fan, so that's default to that. So Nico's got like this mirror magic, right? They're like a mirror shard mage, and I was looking at like what the actual powers and abilities of that are, because in most of the representations of Nico, they're throwing the shards of the mirror like a javelin, right? Because that's what they do. Mm-hmm. But like the shards also like absorb people's sort of like essence and kind of trap them in this little mirror dimension for like a couple of seconds, right?
Yeah, it's very much Mirrorverse. Yeah, it's awesome. Like that
Imagine,
bit in
how could you
contend
with that?
In Superman,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's the Phantom Zone, right? Imagine that. Imagine your defenders desperately trying to get the ball out of play, and they're just like, whoop, mirror mage.
Well, that's something we haven't spoken about yet. Are they allowed to use their magic?
Yes, What are you talking about? What's the point of
What do you
doing
mean?
this?
Then I would have changed. Then everything would have been. I mean, I guess I said Ventus teleporting around. Yeah,
What are
fair.
you talking about?
Fair.
We're doing
Fair.
let's do Magic the Gathering does football. They can't use their magic. Well, then I just pick the Gruul clan.
Well, then
Just
I
all
just
the
choose
Gruuls.
Urza, wouldn't I? Oh, he just blows up the pitch. They got one goal up, blows up the entire
Well,
stadium. Well, I guess
just
we
all right
won.
then. Your team is Urza. I'll field my 11. You have Urza.
Fair. No. I get it. The only reason I argue is because, interestingly enough, Nico Harris was my left winger. Because they proved to it that they defied their god by going, oh, okay, I'm actually going to lose when you say that I'm supposed to win. But I mean, we don't know if that was the only time that they're going to win. So surely they're going to win all the time. And also, you say that javelin throwing isn't that important. The reason I have them on the left wing is because wicked throw-ins, mate. Have you seen those throw-ins where it goes like straight into the box? It's like a cross.
Right.
You know? So
Yeah.
I feel like, Nico Harris is fantastic. But if they could use their shard magic, that's just like bloop, bloop, bloop. Oh, I guess they haven't got a team anymore. I guess they're
Well, they don't trap them in there
AWOL.
permanently, right? They just do it. It's like a momentary thing.
A momentary thing, I guess. Yeah, it just stalls them for a second.
Yeah.
I guess. Cool. And I guess the whole point is because I had them as a winger because the idea is that they can give another creature unblockable, right? So the idea is that they can cross the ball into a place where the other team can't defend to. So for me, the +1 was like the cross in, because originally I was going to have someone else as the winger, but I feel like if you giving other things unblockability is kind of like what wingers do in football anyway. They create a situation of where the ball going in can't be blocked, from either being a volley or even if it's a through ball or whatever. Like that's what your wingers are meant to do, right? Is to break down your opponent's defense. So yeah, that +1 I feel like is key. Nico Harris for sure. Like as soon as I put this up, I was like, it's got to be Nico Harris. They're the only undefeatable athlete. I don't even know why I didn't consider them as part of. I think I did a load of research on them, and it was just to see what they did in cow time. And none of the things they did in cow time was really relevant to football, shockingly enough. Don't know what I was expecting it to be. But yeah, like, sure, yeah, Nico Harris is an athlete that is destined not to lose. Like, surely you've got to have them on your team.
Yeah, exactly.
Only makes sense. And then I had on the right, originally I had on the right someone else, and we'll get to them in a second. So they're now my striker. But I was going to try and, this was the one I said to you earlier, that I had like a last minute like change of like, oh my God, I don't have a winger that has wings. That's such a flavor fail. But I have Urabrask, the hidden. Because he gives all of your team haste, and he makes all of your opponent's creatures come into play tapped. So the idea is that the plays he's making, and he's the hidden, right? So you're not even expecting like the speed he can get down on the right on. Like he's making all of your team run up with him super super quickly, and it's putting your opponent on the back foot because they're backpedaling to try and defend. So they're all tapped, unable to keep up with them to be able to keep the plays going, and they ain't ever keeping up, And again, he's hidden, all cheeky, or sneaky, and that's the thing. It's like I mean, I only the reason nice. Sorry, we'll do that. There we go. Good. And the thing is, I wanted my wingers to be like the power players, right? And originally, again, I had someone else as one of the wingers, but I think they work way better as a striker when I actually looked at their cards and went, oh, okay, this makes way more sense. But I think it's funny that we didn't choose wingers that have wings because that would have been a bit. I don't know. It feels cheaty. It feels cheaty giving it. If anything, like leaves the pitch. They no longer have both of their or at least one of their limbs on the pitch at once. I feel like that's kind of like disqualification. Similar to like with pool. Like you have to have at least one foot on the floor. You can't just like belly flop onto the table to take your shot. That's not legal.
Yeah.
But yeah. I feel like giving all of your team haste whilst also slowing with your opponents down. That's kind of what wingers do.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, I had a very similar thought process for my wingers as well with the idea of speed. My right wing is Ginger Brute.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Yeah, it can't be blocked unless they have haste. Oh, that's phenomenal. What a choice.
I mean, coming up against your team would actually would fuck me.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, I don't know. None of my defenders have haste. That's the thing, right? Is that your attackers are going against my defenders, and my defenders don't have the haste. So that's clever because you'd want defenders that are really good defending. They're not going to be super quick.
Yeah.
Oh, you've preyed on my idiocy.
And also, Ginger Brute can dive as well because you tap 2, sacrifice Ginger Brute, you gain 3 life. I've got
Yeah, right. Oh my, I thought this. What was the one that I was going to think? I looked up fight. I looked up legendary in
right, yeah.
Scryfall. I put legendary and then I put Oracle fight to see if there was any that made sense as like being douchebags. This is what I kind of thought with Apocalypse Hydra as well, right? It's a defender that it can like use mana to lose a counter to deal damage. So it's almost like one of the heads like takes the hit and goes, oh ref, oh and discredits one of the attackers coming at him. Because I thought that was quite a funny thing. I didn't want to necessarily have someone who's like a pretender. So someone who's constantly on the ground all the time trying to win the free kicks. I thought that might have been quite funny as well, but I was like, oh, should we just put a sub in? And the sub is just someone who constantly is constantly just on the floor pretending to be injured. But I couldn't find anyone that fit for it. Marisiah the Pretender, maybe that would have fit. I don't know.
Marisiah would suck at football. Are you kidding?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that wouldn't make sense whatsoever.
Nerd. It's a little magic nerd.
Brilliant. I love it.
My left wing is the character represented on the Christopher Moeller art for Need for Speed.
Oh yeah, typing in immediately.
Need for Speed. It's the guy on Need for Speed.
Yes, that's phenomenal. Yes, I love it.
Need for Speed is 1 red for a red enchantment. Sacrifice a land, target creature gains haste until end of turn. And then the flavor text is: his feet buckled to the ground, his hand cut through the wind cut the wind to ribbons, and he was gone. I just love the idea of a winger who's so fast that he chews up the pitch, and like how would anyone else like keep up with him? Like you sacrifice land, target creature gains haste. So he's just like he's running so hard that he just fucks the pitch up. Love it. And also this was one that I only thought after I picked it. Do you must have seen the film Shaolin Soccer, right?
Absolutely, of course.
Yeah. The is it Stephen Chow? I've messed that up, haven't I? Oh yeah, it's Stephen Chow. Yeah, where he's also the titular character. He directed that as well. Also, was in Kung Fu Hustle, was the other sort of big Western.
Exactly.
Western
I watched it at the same time that I watched Kung Fu Hustle. I went for all the ridiculous.
Yeah, there was like a period in
stunning.
Yeah, like 2004, 2005 was definitely like Stephen Chow's kind of like Western sort of breakthrough. And whilst it's not confirmed, to my untrained eye, the character in Need for Speed seems to have a similar aesthetic to like a sort of the Shaolin monk aesthetic, right? With like the orange robes and the sort of shaved head and everything. Whether that's true or not,
definitely be on. He could definitely part the Jess guy.
Yeah. Although this is an onslaught, right? So this must be Dominaria. Yeah, but I mean, do tell me if this has a specific. People on Twitter, please tell us if this has a different reference to that and let us know. But to my eye, that it seems to be like very Shaolin-y. So all like based on sort of the Shaolin monks. And so yeah, in my head, I can imagine this guy like running super fast and then doing like a flying headbutt from the corner.
Oh yeah. I could see him like scorpion kicking or bicycle kicking just out of nowhere, just charges into the box.
Yeah, just full on Shaolin soccer mode. Yeah, so that's my left wing.
I like that. Good. Okay, right. So moving on to my strikers. I've only got 2 of them. In a similar vein, who else is super super fast in the multiverse, Andy Man?
The character on the instant sorcerer, instant spell messenger speed. Speedy Messenger from Thursday on Death.
True, but then also if you look at Amonkhet, and then there's or not even Amonkhet, sorry, A War of the Spark. There's Samet Sprint, where she's like literally running along a wall. So yeah, so originally this was my winger right before I switched up and then had to refill with Urabrask. So it turned out when I looked at the cards, didn't even consider this because I was thinking about cards like Tyrant Smasher, where creatures you control have haste and it gives a creature +2/+1 and haste. Samet Sprint gives a creature +2/+1 and it gains haste. But Samet Voice of Dissent, like the OG, not only has flash, so gets in there super super quick, has double strike. You can't have your winger be a striker. So I was like, well, Samet's got to be the striker. She also has vigilance, so she's not like, she doesn't fully commit. She's ready to backpedal as well. She's got the haste, so she's super quick. She gives other creatures you control haste. That same kind of thing with the Urabrask, of where when she's moving forwards, everyone else is coming up with her. The whole power play together, And then for white and a tap, she can untap another target creature. The idea, she's not even selfish, right? In the story, she's not selfish. She's trying to look after, what's his name? Jeru. After they go out and have a little investigation, they find out about the trespasser and stuff. Like, again, Amonkhet has a fantastic story. It's a really, really good story. You should read it if you haven't. But Samet isn't full of themselves. You know, she's deferential. She looks after her other crop mates, or her teammates as they are now. So the idea that she will happily make the run, but then also stop and then set up one of her other teammates with untapped target creatures, set them up for the opportunity to score. Boom! Seems like a home run. You know. And I just like the idea that she's if she can run along a building. Like, I'm surprised that, having a look at Need for Speed, you didn't see Samet Sprinks. It's almost exactly the same kind of idea, right? Of where it's like just a ridiculous burst of speed.
What would I have typed in? Pray tell, you're surprised I didn't see it. What would I have typed in to Scryfall to get both those cards up on the same page?
I don't know what you typed in to get Need for Speed up, to be fair. What did you type in?
Speed.
Quick. Oh, okay. Not complicated. I see. Right. Yeah. Fair. Yeah. I don't know. How did I get to Samet? I don't even know. I think I just wanted a speed mage. I think the first thing I thought, was speed, and then I went, oh, I know Samet's got speed magic.
Samet's speed magic. Do you know how this is how little I pay attention? Really, I didn't really clock on to the fact that Samet had sonic speed until War of the Spark came out. It's not relevant at all to her whole story arc.
I guess there was so much other things going on. Being a little bit quick isn't that impressive. Like, especially on Amonkhet, it's not like they have lots of different elemental magic. You know, like, all they are is athletes, right? Is that they're trained to be strong fighters and warriors, right? And it's only kind of when we got to War of the Spark of where I think they needed to go, how do you make Samet stand out? They wanted Samet to be there because she could have the personal response to the Eternals coming, you know, the dread horde, as it were, because it's like, oh, those are all my old friends and stuff, you know, this is from my, like, all of this invasion is coming from my plane. And I guess they needed to kind of give her something that was a bit more of an identity. I guess it is always, even on a card, double strike, vigilance, haste gives your other creatures haste. Because she's got vigilance, you can attack and then untap another creature. It is all activating. But yeah, within the story, I don't.
But I mean specifically,
particularly, yeah,
like
it wasn't really
Liliana being a necromancer. Liliana being a necromancer is ironic because she studied to be a healer, and then she made her brother undead. And then, Jace having mind magic is a whole thing to do with him because he's had his mind wiped so many times by his mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Gideon having shield magic, essentially, however you want to describe that. And hieromancy as well, is because he always wants to protect and sort of, make it everyone else safe. Samet's got speed because she needs to have a superpower. Yeah, she needs to have a superpower. And exactly. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it was just a thought I had. I didn't even know that was her deal. I must admit, by the time War of the Spark came around, the Amonkhet story wasn't very fresh in my head, so I think I might have just forgotten, even if I knew. But you wouldn't look at it to look at her card. You wouldn't know that was her thing, right?
No, I guess I agree. I mean, I don't. No, there's so many things. She's keyword soup on her original card, so it makes a little bit less sense. And then when you look at her, I guess Hour of Revelation, Planeswalker card after she's sparked, there's nothing about haste on there. It's double strike, right? Because she's using the two scythe thingies. None of the rest really makes too much sense. On another note, of all of the 4 cards that have the word Samet in it, they're all done by Alessi Briscoe, which is quite interesting because it creates a really distinct image for her. And when you see her in any of the other cards, because there are a bunch of other cards she's represented on, you don't think it's her because Alexi's done all of the other cards, which makes it very, you're very in tune with what you expect her to look like, whereas most of other characters have had a varying degree. But yeah, apparently Speed Mage. She's the only one who's a Speed Mage. Again, who else can run across a wall? Yeah, just because. Why not? I don't even necessarily think it was relevant in the story of War of the Spark either, but hey-ho. So my other striker, we've already touched on this a little bit already, but what you want your striker to be not easily intercepted. You don't want them to be easily blocked. So I've got a Tratter the Silencer.
Oh, nice.
A 3/5 legendary vampire assassin. A Tratter the Silencer can't be blocked. I also like the fact it was a vampire without flying, because it kind of got around that cheaty step kind of thing. And then also, so whenever she deals combat damage to a player, exile target creature that player controls, puts them to shame whenever she scores, and then puts a hit counter on that on the creature. So the idea is, they're never going to get over it. And then after the third one has been, after she's scored a hat trick, the game's basically over, right? Because you win the game. And at that point, if your striker's got a hat trick, you're pretty much guaranteed to be winning that game, right?
Yeah, I like that.
So that's I felt Yeah, that's what I felt like. It delivers. It delivers on both. So I've got someone really, really fast, and I've got someone who can't be blocked as my like strike force, as it were. And I felt that's what you needed. I didn't need any more. Didn't need any more up front. I've got some fast wingers. I feel like this team could work well together. The only
Yeah.
thing I'm missing is someone. The only thing I couldn't find that I really wanted to. I wanted something to represent someone who was really good at through balls. And I've kind of got someone on my subs that kind of fulfills that role, but otherwise I don't really have that. A lot of it's going to be playing down the right, and then crossing it in. I feel like I've got a quick team.
Do you know what? Whenever someone says the word through ball in relation to football, do you know what pops into my head?
No.
hitting triangle on a PlayStation controller, because that's the through ball.
Oh, it's so true. Yeah, on FIFA, exactly. And I always hit it too hard, and it always ends up getting to the keeper. Yeah.
Because I don't really care about football, but I'm pretty fucking good at FIFA.
Oh, really? See, I'm terrible at FIFA, but I'm pretty good at football. So.
Anyway, my two strikers, I had a similar sort of thought process to the strikers, although that's kind of relative in this conversation because we've got three of the same players so far. I wanted also a player that was hard to block, and this is my second Planeswalker of the team. Although I've only picked a Planeswalker card, it's really just the character mostly that I want, and that is Kaya. Which Planeswalker did I go for? Ghost
sick.
Assassin.
Yeah. Oh, good shout.
I mean, she ghost phases through things.
And the ball as well with her, right? Because that's the new thing she can do. She can
I didn't necessarily think of that. I just sort of assumed you can't like especially on things like corner kicks and things where the positioning of the defenders is all about blocking the path of the attackers, right? But she just phases up into the air and heads the ball in every time. No one.
That's amazing. Imagine if a defender comes up to her, she touches them, and they just phase through her, and she just carries on. Oh, that's such a broken ability. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So I went for Ghost Assassin because the first ability is exile Kaya or up to one target creature, return that card to the battlefield on your own. It's on its control at the beginning of your next end step, lose 2 life. So I like the idea that you just can't pin her down, and the other Kayas do sort of similar things. When I was looking at the Kayas though, this is another thing which doesn't make sense. We must have mentioned this at the time. If you look at the other Kaya Planeswalker cards, Kaya Geist Hunter by Ryan, the Ryan Pancoast one specifically. Firstly, and I think this is one of the most badass Planeswalker arts ever. Right. What am I about to say?
Why did she smash through the window when she can ghost form through it?
Why did she smash through the window when she can ghost form through it?
Gotta make an entrance, bitches. I know that's pure disrespect. I could absolutely leave this pane of window completely untouched, but nah. And do you know what's funny is none of the guests to the party are gonna know that, but all of the other Planeswalkers are like, oh, she's got to make a fucking entrance, hasn't she? God, Kaya. And they can't even be angry about it because it looks badass as fuck.
Yeah, it's badass.
Yeah, it's so true. Awesome. She doesn't need to do that too. It's so unnecessary. Amazing.
We must have mentioned that when this set came out. Also, she's called Kaya Geist Hunter, but the last ability is exile all cards from graveyards, then create 1/1. She's not Geist Hunter. She's Geist Birther.
Yeah, I think it's because is she being the Geist? Is she a hunter who is
she's
Geist?
Kaya Geist Hunter.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. She's not hunting Geist. She's a she's a hunter who is also.
Well, that doesn't make sense with the
Geisty.
name. Well, no, because the first one is Kaya Ghost Assassin, and she's definitely assassinating ghosts.
Well, that was in the
and
time.
Orzhov Usurper. She's definitely usurping the Orzhov.
Yeah, and I guess it doesn't make sense because she's the Bane of the Dead in the War of the Spark version. But I guess the idea
she's
is
not
that
of the dead, and she's a Bane.
Yeah.
She's
It's not Ghost Hunter, right? I guess the problem is that Geists were known because it's the Geist form, right? Oh no, it's even called Ghost form in the War of the Spark. Yeah, you're right. This is wrong. So basically, they fucked up the name of every Planeswalker from Crimson Vow. Is what you're saying?
It's terrible. It's hard to just kill. But her two of her utility cards from one from War of the Spark, one from Kaldheim. You've got Kai's Ghost form and Kai's Onslaught. Kai's Onslaught, much like you're thinking with Samut, gives double strike, and Kai's Ghost form. It's not unblockable. It's when an enchanted permanent dies or is put into exile, return that card to battlefield on your control. But the artwork definitely shows her blipping through an Eternal.
Straight through.
And the Eternals found some sparks to be quite slippery. So I was just like, you know what, if in a real game of football, I would want Kaya to be one of my forwards, I think, for sure.
Yeah, look what she's doing around the Orzhov in Kaya's Wrath. She's running rings around them. She's busting through a wall in Kaya's Guard. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Big fan. Big fan.
And my other striker, my two forwards, is Rada, Heart of Keld. Basically, any of the Radas would do, but Rada, Heart of Keld. As long as it's your turn, Rada has first strike, so gets in quicker than anyone else. Gets a touch to the ball before anyone else. Gets a little sliding touch in. You may look at your top of your card library at any time, and you may play lands from the top of your library. So always been aware of what's going on, always knowing where like the new positions are and what's coming next. Really sort of like in tune with their midfielders. And then pay 4 and a green and a red. Rada gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of lands you control. Like she can get incredibly powerful. And just as a kind of imagining meeting this person in real life, she's fucking huge. And like there is a non-zero amount of Magic fans out there that talk about the prowess of her leg game, shall we say.
Mate, they like the thick ladies, don't they?
Okay,
She's
you're going to go for
thick
you
out.
like the thick leg. I danced around that so much, and you just went straight in there.
Yeah, mate. I mean, I'm now nearly all the way through my pint of gin. Okay. All I noticed when I put Rada in was the difference in how they've designed her since the Jim Murray artwork.
What, Heir to
The
Keld?
original, yeah, of where she's got like a skinny waist, like her arms are barely bigger than mine, and then you look at the next one with Grand Warlord Rada, and it's like, yes, please step on me, Queen. You know?
It's because Heir to Keld, like, it's canonical though, isn't it? Because isn't Heir to Keld when she's been in the Cabal fighting pits in like the original Dominaria story for a long time?
Sure,
She's
yeah,
super
that makes
lean.
sense. Yeah,
And then
yeah.
when
I
she's
thought it
out
was
and
just
she's
them
about,
doing 90s style fucking, let's make all of the women skinny and make them and give them.
I mean,
no armor.
probably a bit that, yeah. But I think in the story, she's at that point she's a prisoner, right? And then obviously in the
Sure.
2018 Dominaria story, she's also again inexplicably in the fighting pits of Belzenlock's Cabal thing. But that's by the by. But all the other Radas are her when she's getting her, what I assume to be 50 chickens a day. That she's
so true. Yeah,
fucking
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine facing down. If you're a goalkeeper, I mean, obviously you're a 100-handed one, you don't give a shit. Imagine if you're just a regular goalkeeper, and Rada steps up to the plate for a penalty. You're like, do you know what? I'm not getting in the way of this.
I'm just
gonna
walk out. Yeah,
don't care.
You've got it. It's fine.
She's a fan favorite. We're gonna sell 1 billion T-shirts with the back of her name on it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
absolutely.
Slam dunk.
Boom.
Yeah, so that's my starting 11. There we go.
Wonderful. Love it.
Three of the same players we've got there.
That's not. I mean, I'm surprised it wasn't more. I mean, I say that there's a lot of. I say there's 1,600 different legendaries, and we didn't limit it down to legendaries. So the fact of I stuck with mostly legendaries because it was the easiest way to kind of take a character and see the character's flavor and explain it into the role instead of just assuming that random Baloth would make a good defender.
Sure.
But yeah, it's funny because one of our mates, Luke. I sent this idea to, and he's very big into football, and immediately he was like, "So what you need to start doing is you need to kind of like set like a top trumps kind of like scale on their abilities, and then you could like roll for who beats who, and like you can actually play the game against each other to see." I was like, "You're getting way too into this. We are not putting that much forethought."
He wants us to play Sabutio. That's what he wants to do.
It's exactly what he wants us to do. Yeah. Which I'm not saying we won't do at some point in the future. It's a cool idea, but it would take way more prep than than a weekendish of throwing everything together.
For any listeners who don't know what Sabutio is, I'm saying that right, aren't I? Sabutio?
Sure.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know-ish. I know what you're referring to. I don't.
This was kind of like a retro game, even my age. I'm a little bit older than you, so it was kind of like it's tabletop football. It's like you're playing like minifigs football. So you have a bunch of football players on little like bases that you can.
And you flick them.
You flick them, yeah. And then in more modern versions of Sabutio, they had like magnets where you kind of pressed the base of the magnet and it pushed the ball out. So it's the same sort of thing. But you flick the minifigs that hit the ball that go up the pitch, and then the goalkeeper's on a little arm that you can like move around.
Yeah,
I don't know why I remember this so vividly, but yeah, like I don't know if they have that in other countries. They must do. I mean, they don't make it anymore, but.
Yeah, it's just a really strange name. I wonder where the name comes from. Anyway, subs. So
yeah, let's go through these quickly. Let's been through.
I mean, my first one was pretty obvious. Sakashima of the Many Faces.
Oh, fucking hell!
Is
this the one that we were talking about yesterday?
Yeah. And you were like, I was like,
fucking knew
it's
it.
pretty. Oh, come on, it's pretty obvious.
I knew you'd pick a bloody shape-shifting cloney thing.
As a sub, you never know who's going to go. I haven't got a sub for the keeper. Who's going to pretend to be 100-handed one apart from someone who can have it? I guess. Oh shit! Any face? It's not Sakashima of 1,000 hands. Oh no, I've goofed. Oh well,
you fucked up.
And then my next one was now I don't know if this counts. It's a little bit cheaty, but I couldn't not put in Chun-Li countless kicks. You know, I know it's not technically an MTG character, you know, but I thought, you know,
tell me
countless
what they've
kicks.
reskinned her as. Tell me what the Magic the Gathering character is for Chun-Li.
Have they done one? They haven't done one yet,
No,
have they?
is the answer. They haven't done one.
Oh, okay, good. I was going to say, they might do one day. I'll be interested to see how they do. It's got multi-kicker. Come on, we didn't put any other multi-kicker on our teams, I don't think. And that's kind of like a go-to, right? You can't not. And then the other one I had, and this one's a little bit more clever, Higuri, Steel Wind. Has ninjutsu, comes in off the bench with the ninjutsu, and it has the ability to give a ninja unblockable, so it can give itself unblockability. So it's a really good replacement striker for Atrata if Atrata keeps failing to get the goals, you know, and that hit counter isn't going up, the game isn't going to get won that way. You can ninjutsu it in and strike him with an unblockable attack. I feel like, you know, the opposing team won't see it coming, and if there are any other ninjas on the team, which there aren't, but, you know, I'm not saying that can't happen in the future. Yeah, I feel like Higuri's a cool one.
I don't like the fact you opened up talking about that pick with, and this is really clever. I don't like that.
Hey, back at look. Okay, there are some picks I'm really happy with, and there are some picks that I'm like, is this too cheesy? You know. But yeah, those are my subs.
It's like being a stand-up comedian and just starting your set with, "Oh, this hilarious thing happened to me today."
That's how most comedy sets start. Don't even start. That's not how most of them start.
My substitutes. Anyway. Yeah. Whatever. My substitute. I think this one's really clever. This one's Geist of the Lonely Vigil, which is one of the white. Yeah, you're immediately looking it up because you're like, what the fuck? For a 2/3 spirit cleric. So it has defender and flying. I don't really give a shit about the flying. So this is my replacement defender, but it has delirium, and its delirium ability is Geist of the Lonely Vigil can attack as though it didn't have defender, as long as there are 4 or more card types among the cards in your graveyard. Slight mechanical fail because I need different card types, but I do like the idea that if I get a bunch of players have to get put into the bin, then guys can step up into an attacking position, right?
That's clever. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, I think you only have 3 subs a game, so that's never going to trigger. But sure, why not? Why not stretch it a little bit? And I do like that. It's transition.
No, fuck you. What is that about? Oh, I don't think it's going to actually work. Actually,
have you got 4 subs? Have you got 4 subs, Andy Man?
The mascot can be a sub. Whatever. Vampire Nighthawk, because it does everything.
It does everything. I like that. So you went for the same thing I did, but you were clever about it.
Also, I really, I mean, this is where the fucking EDH police will get on my back. I don't like that Vampire Nighthawk isn't good enough for EDH.
Do you not like
because
the fact that
it's one of my favorite
scavenger?
Well, yeah, just it just doesn't do. It doesn't do what needs to be done in a multiplayer format, right? It was in a very early draft of my Karlov deck because I love Vampire Nighthawk because it was one of the first cards that I really, because it was Black Vampires, right? That was the kitchen table deck that you put together, and this was obviously a key player. So when we started playing EDH opposed to 60 card kitchen table, I put it into my life game deck and I was like, well, this is solid. And I was like, yeah, but also it doesn't deserve a slot.
Doesn't have an ETB, doesn't have a dice trigger.
Yeah.
It's essentially, when it comes to Commander, even if you've got keywords, you can still be vanilla. And this is like the definition of keyword vanilla, right? It's just such a shame that it should be good enough, and it just, unfortunately, it's not quite. As a football sub, boom, it does everything.
Sick. I've just read the entirety of the card text box, my last substitute, and I'm kind of ashamed of myself. I was going to have a real pop at you if you were going to choose a changeling for any of your substitutes.
Interesting, because I don't think Sakashima is a changeling, right?
No, but it's the same spirit as a changeling. Shush. But so I was going to have a real pop at you and be like, "Oh, you'll just do some cheats," and I promise you on my Magic the Gathering collection, I did not pick this card because it was a changeling, but it absolutely is one. It's my replacement goalkeeper, and it's the character that's represented in the tribal instant nameless inversion. Big arms.
Yeah, okay. that's absolutely fine. Okay, like I don't hate that whatsoever. Yeah, big arms. I mean, I feel like Fists of the Anvil also has the same kind of like feel.
Yeah, I didn't
That's got
pick
almost the
Fist of
exact
the
same.
Anvil. I picked
Oh no,
Nameless Inversion.
you
All
picked
right.
yeah. It might fine. No, I like that. That's good. What was the 5-color card that you thought I was going to pick from the sub? When I said like, oh, I've got a cheeky one as a sub, and you were like, oh, is it 5 colors? What did you think it was that I chose?
Morophon, the Boundless.
Oh right, okay. Well, he's colorless, not 5 colors, but sure. Okay, we're not talking about color.
He's a 5-color identity. What are you talking about?
He's not 5 colors, so he's no colors. Yeah, it's fine. No, I
Oh,
get
fucking
what you
hell.
mean. Yeah,
Whatever,
no,
he's
no,
a changeling.
no,
He sucks as a card anyway, so I don't care.
Yeah, I didn't put changelings on my team, but you did. Awkward.
There's like 3 people in our play group who play like tribal changeling decks. And I feel that every time I give out about how much I despise changelings, I always kind of feel them going, oh, I just like playing with tribal deck.
Well, then stop having a go at it then.
No, it
Stop
sucks.
putting it on your teams.
No.
I love it. How did you not realise it was changing? It's the most interesting thing
I
about
just
the
thought of
card.
the art. It's literally just
okay.
the art in my head. I was like, what's the one with the big arms? I knew it was called Nameless Inversion. And I honestly didn't even read the card. I just plopped it straight in. And it's not even a creature that is a changeling. It's a tribal instance. So I should have even spotted that it was a tribal something.
That's awkward. But hey, it's fine. It's good. I like it. Big arms, big hands, fantastic. Yeah, I don't have I guess I do because, 1,000 faces can be anything, right? But yeah. Okay, cool. Right, mascot.
Yeah.
My mascot's mascot/cheerleader, right? And it's really simple. It should be obvious. It's Mum. Because who's your biggest cheerleader? Who's going to support you more than your mum from the stands? And who's going to defend? Who's going to protect you from all the fan abuse from the crowd? Who's going to have to tap to give you protection from that douche fuck over there in the corner calling you out? Mum. Good old Mum. She's going to be there with the big signs, with the pom-poms. Of course. It's got to be Mother of Runes.
Yeah.
Of course. I can't think of anything I'd want more to represent me than my mum.
Okay. Yeah, I'd buy it.
Who's yours?
That's kind of sad, but I mean, yeah, sure, that's fine.
Wow!
There are 3 cards in Magic which have the word mascot in the title. You've got Jubilant Mascot.
There's the mascot one that's 7 mana that makes a 2/2/3/3/4/4. Oh, 1 maybe 1/1 2/2/3/3/4/4. Yeah, the one from Strixhaven.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm naming them now. This is my point. Wait, I'm literally naming them.
Sorry, I've said that.
There's Jubilant Mascot. Yeah, what's that one? Yeah, the 7 mana one. Yeah, mascot exhibition. Thank you. Got Jubilant mascot exhibition. Do you know what the last one is?
No.
Mascot interception. Mascot interception. Okay. Which is also from Strixhaven.
Technically, that's 4 because there's a sticker card. Familiar.
I don't give a shit about Infinity. It's not. No.
Jubilant
I'm really aggressive today about this. I don't know why. I've had 2 IPAs, little cans as well.
We're not even stretching to the pint cans.
Not even big.
So let me guess. It's the little homunculus boy, right?
No. I was going to go for Jubilant mascot, and then I thought I'd go a slightly different way, and I picked Marit Lage.
Why? Why? I mean, I'm down. I'm there for it, but why?
Could you even comprehend how fucking hyped the crowd would be every halftime? Wow, Marit Lage just appears.
God. Cthulhu descends from the skies, and everyone's like, "Oh, what's that? What's your theme tune, man? You've got to have like some dank ass fucking like theme tune as well coming in, Yeah, that's amazing.
Like all those like in American sports where like the mascot always kind of slightly teases the other team and sort of like does a little dance in front of them and like shakes their ass at them.
Sure, yeah.
Marit Lage just kind of
just twerking on the opponent.
The away side. Like.
Oh, that's phenomenal. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, Marit Lage.
It's also very awoken horror theme as well. I like it. You've got a little like themality there. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't put that together until like we started recording, like just beforehand. I was like, oh yeah, sure, I've got like this little Eldritch thing going on. Yeah. You've gone for like that's quite visually speaking, your team is kind of like it's sort of like, okay, yeah, it's a bunch of like kind of sort of fantasy characters, but it looks like they could all kind of rock out in like the same sort of shirt and everything.
Sure, I don't know how you put an Apocalypse Hydra in a shirt. I mean, I don't know how you put a Wall of Fire in a shirt, to be fair.
Well, this is my point. Apocalypse Hydra is maybe the odd one out. But like I've got a Wall of Fire, an Eldritch God, and then a big block of ice. Next to a tiny little gingerbread man.
Oh, fantastic. So wait, in the transfer market, does the thing in the ice have to go back into the ice at the beginning of each game, or once it's awoken, is it always awoken?
At the end of each game, at the end of each game, it goes into one of those little ice bath buckets to heal its wounds.
Nice. I like it. Good.
Yeah.
And it refreezes. Okay, sick.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't ask this question before, and I don't know if you've got an answer, but has your team got a name?
The Ice Babies.
Off the top of your head, beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
The reason, the thing I was going to say was, I was like, oh, you could just call it Dominaria Unite. Oh, they already did that. They stole that. So I'm just going to go with Multiverse United. I was like, kind of thinking like the Harlem Plain Trotters instead of Globe Trotters, but then they're also basketball players. So I'm bad at sport. Okay, cool. Well, let's move on to the most important person, and that's who's your manager. Well, okay, wait. Let's first discuss referee, because I did randomly throw referee in there, and I feel like I've got quite a cool one. So who's your referee? Who would you like to referee the game?
Lavinia of the 10th.
Oh, because she knows all the fucking rules.
She knows all the rules.
And she can detain.
She'll detain you.
Oh, You're so clever. Oh, you bastard.
She's also got protection from red, which, I don't know, there's something in there about red cards.
There is definitely something in there. Yeah, you can't red card a referee.
Like,
yeah, absolutely can't. Oh, you're so clever. Oh,
yeah.
Funny. Okay, I went with Brina, because she's got flying, so she's got a good view of the pitch. She's already in black and white, which referees normally wear, and she can talk down basically any unruly player. She's a wordsmith. There ain't nothing you can say that she'll be like, all right, fair do. She'll be like, no. You know how like referee, like this is one of my funniest things in football. Is like you'll see these big ass. It's actually more in rugby, where you see these big ass like the players, and then there's this tiny little ref in the middle, kind of looking both up at them, going, "You over there, you time out," and the player's like, "Yeah, okay, sir, sorry, sir." Who's your manager, sir? Who is managing your team of wolves?
My manager is General Kudrow of Dranith.
Oh, funny. I was thinking of this guy as well. I was thinking that he might have been like the head of my midfield.
Yeah. Now, obviously, his card synergizes more with humans directly as a tribe, but his card is also very representative of like what his whole deal is, where he's an incredible statistician. Strategist. That's the word I'm trying to come up with. He's an incredible strategist. He's a very sort of like capable head of state. He runs a military, which is essentially just a giant team, but he's not afraid of putting his like soldier's body on the line, to get what needs to be done. You're going to go out there, you're going to play your hardest, you're going to come back with a broken leg, I don't give a shit, you're going to put that ball in the back of the net. Now, I was going to go maybe for someone who was a bit more money-minded, but then I was starting to drift into like club owners. Like if I had a club owner, for example, it'd be like Queen Marchesa, right? But yeah.
Sure. Yeah, no, I like that.
Yeah, General Kudrow, I think, would be a great manager. And then, not above the game. It's all about the team. Like, when we did that little breakdown of the humans of Dranith, and when we were doing the Ikoria episodes all way back when, the one thing you could say about Dranith, for a fascist state where they forced people to kill themselves, like, no one was above the city of Dranith, not even General Kudrow. He didn't consider himself a king. He's there for the team. He's going to get it done, even if he is in a pseudo-fascist military state.
I could imagine him being an ex-player as well.
Yeah,
I can imagine him coming from like from the trenches, and then coming like rising up and being like, back in my day we didn't have any of this VAR shit. We dealt with our own problems. We used to play with a giant rock. Nowadays you got this floaty Ponzi thing. Yeah. I can definitely.
Yeah, he's like a really grumpy Gareth Southgate. Like he was a star player, and now he's like, yeah.
I like it. Well, you've got a strategist or whatever you call them. I've got a tactician.
at least the word I said was a real word.
That was deliberate.
Strategist.
Yeah, strategician. Sure.
All right,
good. Right. I've got a tactician, a master tactician. I've got Odric.
He was going to be one of my picks too. Yeah.
Because originally I was thinking about using the second one, the Lunark Marshal, of where whenever one of your creatures has first strike, all of them get first strike. But I thought that's a bit too cute. That's too much him being on the battlefield. I like the idea of him being almost like with the baseball cap on, the American football like coaches, where they have all their little whiteboards and their power plays. Because the idea is that when he and 3 other creatures attack, let's ignore the fact that he has to attack. He gets to choose which creatures block and how those creatures block. It's almost like he's making the power plays, And when it comes to like the transfer market, he's got first strikes. So he gets in first with the players that he wants to get into the team. I mean, I feel like if you're going to have someone at the top of your team, you need to be a master tactician. And I feel like that was the get go. I was like, the other thing is I thought the same thing with with General Kudros, he could have been part of the team, like heading the midfield, being the captain.
Oh, well, he was definitely a Cathar, like a young Cathar, wasn't he? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, back in the day. Who's the captain of your team then?
Oh, probably Arcades.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'd say Baird is mine, just because you want your fullback to be like, you want someone who can sit back and see the rest of the game playing, but also be around for the defending kind of thing. I'd say maybe Adeline, but I think Adeline's getting there. Like, she's young, whereas Baird is kind of like in the last couple of years of his career. So he's going to take the reins before he then moves up into being. I haven't thought about this overly whatsoever. I'm not really attached to this. I've not put them in a lovely little position team on my Football Manager app. It's fine.
Well, there we go. Go.
Cool.
Well, let us know on Twitter who you think would win out those two teams. If you know anything about sport or football, I don't really know how you get past either of our goalkeepers, but that's true. By the by,
I don't know if you're allowed to have the same goalkeeper either. I feel like we'd have to deal with the transfer market. I feel like someone would have to outbid the other.
All right, I'll have Suspicious Bookcase as my substitute goalkeeper then.
Well, that's worse. Oh god, that's so scary. I don't like that. It's just a random bookcasing goal. Where does it go? Nobody knows.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, yeah, there we go. This is fun. I much more enjoyed this. We will talk about the new sets and everything coming up.
Yeah.
But I just wanted a little break from it. Let us know what you thought at our Twitter at MTFlavouring. Emails go to mtflavouring@gmail.com. My personal Twitter is at AndyManface. Nathan's, yours is
at the Fox in the Moon.
Let us know who your picks for your fantasy MTG football team would be, and if you want us to do any other sports, it's probably be exactly the same exercise, just with like basketball. Who's really tall? Just like a bunch of tree folk. So do you know what I mean? It'd probably be the same exercise.
Oh my god, true. Yeah, exactly. Everything with reach.
Yeah, we'll get back to doing more of these episodes anyway. All right, cool. Well, do you have anything more to say, Nathan?
Nah. That's it.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Magic the Flavouring.
We'll see you soon.